Hey guys, this time we're going to have a non-gaming video. For anyone that lives in Japan, there is now an online status of residence extension system available. Some people refer to this as a visa renewal system. And so you no longer have to go directly to immigration to extend your status of residence. It is kind of a very finicky system, a lot of issues, a lot of errors. A lot of people have had a lot of problems with it, even from what I've read online. Maybe the large majority, like something like 70–80% of people who've tried it have actually failed to even get it working. And I actually have gone through the whole system successfully. So I'm going to decide to make a guide on how to set it up, and then probably future videos as well as in terms of how to use it and potential issues. So if anyone's interested, continue watching this video. This will tell you how to set up the status of residence extension system online. Okay, so here we are. This was released this year, 2022, around March or April, here in Japan. The status of residence online extension. It's actually, it's not only for extending status of residence, but also other status of residence things as well, such as changing your status of residence and whatever other things there are, applying for different permissions and whatnot. Just in case anyone's wondering, this is the same thing that is typically referred to as visa renewal. A status of residence is the actual correct term. Visa renewal is not actually correct, but almost everyone refers it to that. And in fact, that's probably the most common way to refer to it. So if you hear like visa renewal or that's what you're trying to do, this is actually what you're trying to do, status of residence extension. What do you need to do this online? You need, first thing you need is your My Number card. And this is not just the My Number paper, but it's the card itself. Actually, there's a slide that's going to show you that. So I'll talk about it then. You also need your extension documents. Basically, this the normal stuff you need to, when you normally bring it to immigration. You'll need that for the online system also. And that's different depending on if you're spouse visa, I guess spouse status of residence, or humanities or engineering or arts or whatever. And then you have the stuff you need for the actual website system. So that you need the IC card reader, usually USB, so you can connect it to your PC. You need Chrome or another supported browser. You need the browser extension installed into both PC and browser. So there's two installations involved in that. And you need Windows or another supported OS. Now, I didn't do this with a non-Windows system, and I didn't do this on mobile. I didn't do this without Chrome. So I only know the way I did it. And the way I did it was I did it on Windows 10 with Google Chrome. So that's going to be my guide, what my guide uses. And also you need preferably a Japanese email address. I actually did not use a Japanese email address, and because of that, I missed some emails. Their system basically doesn't really work properly. And if you don't have a certain kind of type of email, you just randomly miss emails, and there's no actual way around that. So that's just part of the broken part of their system. There's various like broken parts in the system basically that don't really function that well. All right, so the My Number card. This isn't really specifically a guide on how to get a My Number card and what it does and all that stuff, but you will need one to access this online system. It's pretty easy to get one. If you don't have a My Number card currently, you should go to your local city hall and basically just tell them you want one, and they'll just follow whatever they tell you to do. Alternatively, if you still have the original application number sent along with your My Number, you may be able to get the card online instead. What I'm referring to is basically many years ago, I think it was around 2016, maybe 2017, everyone who lived in Japan got a My Number, which is this thing here, this little thing here in the lower left. And even though it has the word card in it, in katakana, this is not the My Number card. This over here on the lower right is the My Number card. This, I don't know what it's actually called. I call it the My Number paper because it's literally a piece of paper. It's like a little flimsy piece of paper. And this has your number on it. And so basically everyone in Japan who lives in Japan has a My Number, even though there's some people who don't know they have a My Number, but they still have one. Like everyone has one. And what everyone doesn't have, though, is this card because it's not required. It's not required to have the My Number card. And when you first got the original My Number paper, there was like a little application paper that came with it. It was like, oh, if you want the card, fill this out and apply. So if you still have that, there's like a unique ID on it, and you can use that to apply online. But I don't think most people are still going to have that. It was from many years ago. So your best bet is probably to go to your local city hall. After applying at your local city hall, you'll receive a notification in the mail to schedule a pickup of the My Number card. At least that's how my city hall did it. I don't know if it's different at other ones. Basically, I received my notification about 2 weeks after I applied. And then at that point, I had a link to a website. I went to the website and selected a day and time when I would pick it up. I then went to the city hall. And when I went there to pick it up, they asked me to set PIN codes. I don't remember if some of them were optional or not, but if they are, I recommend just setting all of them because I think you're going to need all of them. And basically, you have to set 4 pin/codes. 3 of them are actually 4-digit pins, and they're usually, most people just make them all the same number. They even let you do it there. They're like, just pick one, and then it applies to all 3 of them. Then the other one is different, though. The other one's an alphanumeric. I believe minimum like 8 characters. I forget exactly what the requirements are, but it's an alphanumeric code. So you have basically 3 4-digit pin codes, which are usually all the same, and then you have 1 alphanumeric longer code. So I recommend setting both because I do believe you need both for this system, from what I remember. And once again, this on the lower left is the My Number paper, and this is the one you need, the My Number card. Once again, when you're at City Hall, when you're asking for the My Number card, if they ask you about if you want like the IC chip or if you want like those special features, you should say yes. Because the whole reason you want the My Number card is so that you have the IC chip inside of it so that you can read it with the IC card reader and that you can use the services that require the IC chip. Otherwise, there's like no reason to get the card if you're not going to get the IC chip. It's might as well just be the paper. So if they ask you about that stuff, say yes. Okay, so now that you got your My Number card, this is some of the relevant links to the actual system. And as you can see, it's pretty complicated. There's all these different things, related to the system. And basically, we'll just go through some of these here. Here, let me make sure the video is right. Okay, yeah. So this is kind of the general information, the kind of the flyer. Like I think they have like little advertisements and flyers that basically look like this. And this is like the advertisement for the online system. Yeah, so it came out in March of this year. If you have a My Number card, foreigners can use this online system, whatever. And you can use it for any status of residence other than diplomat or temporary visitor. So that's, I don't know how many people have those residents. So most people can use this. There's no extra fees. And it's just as you expect. And one of the most useful features here, you can receive the residence card straight in the mail. The entire system, you do not have to go in person anywhere, which is awesome. But as I said, it kind of barely works. The whole system kind of barely works, but it does work, just barely. And it's very convenient. So once again, that's why I'm making this video for anyone who's interested in trying it out. So once again, this is basically the general information system. You can, read it in Japanese, or if you want, you can try to translate it to English and see if you can figure it out. But that's the general information page. This is the login page. This is where you would normally log in. So here it actually does have it in English. So they actually have an English interface here. And once again, we'll go over some of these steps in more detail later with future slides. Right now, we're just showing the general links. This is the system login instructions. It's talking about My Number card, and then IC chip, and then all this weird stuff. Just to be clear, you don't actually need this, by the way. This download JPKI user software, you don't need this. This is, or actually, you don't need, you need the one for Chrome. I have a link for it later. Hold on, I have a link for it here because their site sucks. I don't know how to navigate that thing. It's this one here. This one here. Okay, so this one down here is the one you want. So this one Edge Chrome thing. You don't want the Java. You don't want the Java one. I think this is the Java one. I forget. Basically, you don't want anything else. Basically, on this page. So this is the where is it? Windows plugin download, right? So on this page here, the download JPKI user software. This is jpki.go.jp/download/index.html. You basically scroll all the way to the bottom. Oh wait, no, sorry, it's not this one. Which page was it? does this page look different? Oh, why does this look different? Download/index, download/win. Oh, okay. So this is like the Windows. Okay. So if you go here, you click download Windows version, and then it brings you here. Then all the way down at the bottom, you do the Edge Chrome browser version download. That's what you need for the online system. In fact, if you get the Java one, you can't use it for the online system. It won't do anything for you. It'll just look like an application from like practically looks like it's from Windows 3.1, and it won't do anything for you. So you need to get this. All right, anyway, let's continue the links here. So here's the link to the online documents. Basically, I made this slide here for just as a useful reference for basically every link that probably has to do with this system. So this page here has a bunch of appendix documents that you may need depending on what procedure you're going through. One of the common ones I think here is appendix number 19, supplementary form. So for example, if you're doing engineer slash humanities or whatever, you click this and you open it and it has like a special here. Let me just take it real quick here. So it just gives you this, which is basically if you've seen the renewal documents, this is very similar to what you kind of see with the standard renewal documents. I'm not sure why they kind of have special versions of this for the online system specifically, but they do. So you may need some of these documents. If you really don't know exactly what you need, you may probably want to call them. I actually had to call them many times throughout my renewal process because a lot of the stuff's not clear. There's like a lot of stuff which is kind of broken and not clear and doesn't really tell you what to do. So, okay, back to the list. Extension. Okay, so this is the traditional website that just shows you what documents you need. So, for example, if you are doing engineer, then this gives you information. This is not relevant specifically to the online system. This is even if you apply in person. This is basically what you need. So like for example here, right? Application for extension period of stay. This is just your standard stuff that you need. You need a photo, you need a passport and residence card, some type of financial document from your company, residence tax documents, et cetera, et cetera. The standard stuff. This guide is not really about that. That's just your standard renewal requirements, and then that's just the page there. And once again, as we looked before, this is the Windows plugin download. You go here at the bottom. That's the download. And so when you install this installs into your Windows. It's an actual software that installs. This is not the plug. This is like the software for the plugin. But then the actual plugin itself, but this is just a direct link to the exe file. And the actual plugin itself, the extension itself is here. So you click this. This is the actual extension. So you need both. You need to install the install file, and you also need to add this extension to your Chrome. Looks like it has 1-star review, but this is what you need. This is the user client software. It's the most super generic name, but you need this, and this is how, as you can see here, this is when it asks you to input your My Number Card alphanumeric password, and then here for the 4-digit PIN. Basically, you need this. So install this into your Chrome. And here is the instructions. This Chrome link was obtained from this PDF, which is kind of ridiculous. You have to look into this PDF to get the link. But if you go into this PDF, this is the actual instructions on how to use everything. And at some point, eventually, so actually you can see this is how some of the stuff looks, right? So this is when you're installing the Chrome software. It comes up with the install script, and then you say, yes, install, and then it does this, and then it installs, and then it finishes, and then whatever, I don't remember, I don't know what this says, but then maybe it says restart your Chrome, or I guess you choose Edge or Chrome, it looks like, and you install it into your browser, and then you go here, here's the link, right? Here, you go here, you add the extension, you enable the extension, and then it works. Okay, so that's what you have to do. And then on to the next step here. How do you create an account on the online system? So as we saw before, the link to the online system login and create account is here. So let's close out these from before. Make sure the extension is installed and enabled, right? So this is here, my Chrome extension enabled. Make sure My Number Card is inserted into USB Reader, and then go to this page. And then to create a new account, you scroll to the bottom, register new user, foreign applicant. Go here, there's Japanese mode, there's English mode. Scroll down to the bottom, foreign applicant. So you click this. Right now I don't have anything connected, but you can see this, please connect an IC card reader, writer to your computer and scan your card, etc. When you scan it, it'll be detected. And then, so after you do that, and for the extensions, you can see, here's my extension. Enable it when you're going to use the site. You can always keep it enabled. I disable it when I'm not using it, but we'll enable it before we use the site. Whoops. So next, after you try to create your account, you click the button. It will ask you to input your 4-digit PIN number, and also, I believe, your alphanumeric password. I think it'll ask for both. And then after you get past that, at some point, it will ask you to enter an email address. And preferably you use a Japanese email address. It seems to me the most common one people use is yahoo.co.jp. From what I understand, that one has never had any issues for anyone. People using Gmail like I did actually have issues such that they occasionally miss emails randomly. And you have no way to know if you miss an email because, well, you missed the email. So you don't really know you missed the email if you don't know to expect an email. And so it can definitely result in some holdups in your process if they tried to ask you something or they tried to notify you of something and you just didn't get the notification. So if you do it that way, like I did, you have to call them a lot and kind of fit, every step of the way, make sure everything's working properly. That's what I ended up doing. My account is actually set up with my Gmail, but I missed some emails and resulted in my whole process probably taking another 1 or 2 weeks longer than normal. And then after creating the account, you will receive, or you should receive, an email to set your password. In this email, there's a link. You click it, and then you set your password. After that, you should receive another email with your randomly generated username. You can then use that username and password. You can use these credentials to log into the system using the login feature here. And so now I will go here, activate my extension, and I will get my USB connections and connect them up with my number card and log in so we can see how it looks. So my card is connected, my USB is connected, everything's connected. As you saw, my extension is enabled. So I go here, log in. Sorry, I have to refresh the page, my bad. Whoops. So we're back on the page, we refreshed it after. So if you enable the extension, you have to refresh the page. So we refresh the page, click it, here you go. You can see, can you see it? You can't see it. Okay, so you guys should see my full display now. As you see, I click here, I click this pops up, and I have to put in my 4-digit password. So for login, you don't need the alphanumeric, you only need the 4-digit. I believe the alphanumeric was only needed for create account. So after you log in, here you go, it's logging in. And now you put in the username and password you received in your email. All right, guys, so unfortunately, I couldn't remember my password fast enough, and I got locked out. I think if you get the wrong password like 3 times, it actually locks you out for 24 hours. But I guess at the end, it was actually probably pretty good because I would have had to blank out a bunch of stuff after I logged in anyway. So these are some pictures that I actually specifically took while I was actually, doing my process, just because I knew that I probably wanted to make a video about it. So I took these screenshots specifically for this video, although I took these screenshots actually some time ago, many months ago actually. But basically this will show you what you see when you log in. So after you put in your username and password, you log in, it takes you directly to this screen, which is the main menu. And on the menu, it says, username, then it tells you your last login, little logout button, title, online system. And then you have these 3 buttons. I never used this one at the bottom before. It says you can change your password, email, and stuff, so it's pretty self-explanatory. These 2 are the key buttons of this system. The top one is to create a new application. So the first time you come in here and you don't have an existing application, you click that, and then it asks you for the type of application, and you choose like status of residence extension, or if you're looking for something else, choose something else. And then it brings you to a page where there's an online form where you fill out some information. It's very basic stuff. It's not the full renewal document. It's only like the basic information, like your first name and last name, your country, I think maybe your passport number, it's basically only the information that is common to like all of their applications. It doesn't have like application specific online forms. And so what you have to do for those is you actually going to have to attach them into a PDF and attach them to the system when you apply, which we'll go into in the next slide as well. We'll see that part where you're supposed to do that. And then this button here is if you've already started an application, because chances are likely you're not going to start it, do the whole thing, and then submit it in one session. You're going to have periods of time in between before you actually submit it. And so if you've already started an application but you haven't submitted it yet, you click this. When you click this, it brings you a page with a whole bunch of weird query parameters and stuff and filters, like you choose filter by date and filter by this, that, and the other thing. Basically you just leave it at the default parameters and you scroll down to the bottom and click like search or whatever. And then it'll come up with your existing non-submitted document. And I think even if you submitted already, it'll probably still come up with it and it will probably show up as submitted or something. And then once you either find your existing document and go to it or create a new one, it'll bring you to this page, which is the actual application page where you're attaching stuff to your application. And then finally, when you click this big orange button, it submits it to the Immigration Services Agency. So what do you need? The key button, well, these are all key buttons actually, but before we talk about materials, because that's a complicated one, we'll talk about the simple ones. Attach a facial photo. Make sure your photo meets the requirements that are specified in the immigration, basically requirements for the photos that they want from you, like the dimensions and what the background has to look like and all that stuff. And you just attach it there. I think there might be some file size and maybe file format requirements. Once again, if I actually managed to log in, I probably could click it and show you, but I think it probably tells you in there when you click it. It might be like JPEG or something, probably some file size requirements, maybe dimension, maybe I think resolution requirements as well. This I didn't use. This I think is if you want to do more than one application at the same time. So if you want to do like an extension and then you also want to apply, I think some people when they, if they're switching status of residence or if they're extending, they might also want to extend another thing that's attached to it, like permission to engage in activities outside of your visa or something like that. Then I think you would use this. I don't really know much more about it other than that though. This, I think when you first created the application, I think you filled this out, but if you want to change it, you would click this. And basically this is, do you want to receive your card either by the post mail or by going to pick it up at, I don't know if the immigration center is a choice. I think you pick it up at your local city hall, ward office. I think they ship it to your ward office and you pick it up from there. That's one of the options, I believe. Check facial photo, that just checks, I believe, when you attach and kind of checks to say that, oh, looks valid. I think that's all it does. And then this just deletes everything. So materials, this is one of the key points here. This is where you go in and you attach a PDF file that is up to what they claim 10 megabytes in size. From my experience, it might be more like 9.5 megabytes in size. And that's probably the most complicated. Basically, what you have to include in your PDF is all of the application forms, like the forms themselves filled out. And basically any of the forms that were not automatically an online form, which is like all of them. The only one that like was an online form is like the first page, the generic one that, like I said, asks for your number, asks for your passport number and your country and stuff. Like all the other ones, like if you're, the humanities, for example, the engineering specific stuff, you have to include in a PDF in the materials. Or, if you're doing like, the art renewal or the instructor renewal, all that stuff, any documents specific to those will be inside the attached materials PDF. And so in there, you're going to attach all the documents, everything you need. Those forms, the residential tax forms, anything, your passport scan, put that in there, put everything into a single PDF. It has to be one file. You can't attach more than one. And in fact, after you've already attached one file, you cannot reattach it. You cannot replace it with another file. So you better be sure that the file you upload is the final file that you want to attach. And that comes to the next point, is that most likely you will not be able to attach all the documents you need into a single 9.5 megabyte PDF file. Now for me, I believe, for my PDF, I used like 300 PPI, pixels per inch. They don't have a recommendation. I think I used either 250 or 300. And at least at those resolutions, you can't really get everything you need into a 9.5 megabyte PDF. And so for anything additional, you will need to send it via the post mail, and that gets pretty complicated. I'm going to go over that in my next video if people are interested in that, and if people want to continue learning on how to continue this process and the potential issues that can occur, such as sending mail directly to them and having it linked to your online application, because that stuff's also kind of complicated. The key things to note there, though, just because it is important to know this, and I can just say it real quick, is when you first send them real mail, they ask you to put your application number on it, and so you might think it's this number here, and it is actually, it is supposed to be this number here, but initially this number is a placeholder number. It's not the real application number until later. I don't actually know when it becomes the real application number, but you can usually tell if it ends in all zeros, it's a fake number. So it's useless if you attach that number to your mail. Once this number has like some numbers at the end that are not 4 zeros, then it's the real number. So it's kind of random, but that's probably important to note. Otherwise, yeah, that's basically it. You attach everything you need to the PDF. You send anything extra in real mail, via post, and you attach all this stuff. And then when you're done, you click the orange button, file an application, and you get a confirmation screen. And once again, you can come back and check your status here. You can come back and check the status by, once again, using this button here. And that's it. That's how you initially access the system and fill out the stuff on it. Like I said, there's a lot of potential issues. I could go over the issues I faced and how I dealt with them, and kind of the stuff I think I've learned throughout the process. For example, I've learned that each application has 3 different IDs. The one here, they're all similar though. They're all almost the same. The one here is the ID that the online system, like people, use. Then the actual local immigration, like for example, Shinagawa Immigration, has a similar ID, but not exactly the same. And then the Zairyu card, the people that actually create the card and give it to you, that are located in Odaiba, at least for Tokyo, I don't know about the other ones, you have yet another similar ID. And so like I've learned all this different stuff between calling them and talking to them and all this stuff. So I can go over another video with that if people are interested. But hopefully this helped you. From what I understand, even just to get to this part, just to get to this screen, like it was so hard for so many people. Like online, I think I saw, 60-70% of people who tried this failed and they just abandoned it because they couldn't figure out how to even get to this point. So I hope this helped people. And actually, I guess I did forget to, did I not have the link to the IC card reader? There's a link to my IC card reader that I use. I guess it's not here. Here, let me get the link real quick. All right, so you can see here, this is the reader that I use directly. You can even see here when I purchased it. It doesn't really have a specific name. It's just an IC card reader, I guess. But it looks like it is, if you're interested in the URL here, it's amazon.co.jp, and then the product ID is B091913WD2. So there's the URL. Can you see it on there? Yeah, you should be able to see it there. So that's the URL to it. Yeah, so this worked just fine for me. You put the card in with the IC card facing like upwards, and you put it in that way, and it works fine. I don't think I needed any drivers for it. It just installed automatically when I inserted it in, and that's it. So yeah, hopefully this helped you out. And like I said, I can provide more information. I can also provide information on the phone numbers I used and the different addresses and phone numbers of the different places I contacted, at least specific for people living around Tokyo. So all of those will probably be in my next video. If I do make another video on this, I think let me know what you guys think of this and if you want another video. So hope this helps you guys. And until next time, see you later.